Hey, welcome back to my channel. It is Christian here. You're tuned in for more of my 2 cents. If you are new to the channel, then welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. And if you are a returning 2 center, then thank you so much for coming back. I'm glad to have you guys here, and hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video and conversation, because I believe it's going to be one that a lot of people will either be able to relate to or find value in, depending on where you are in your deconstruction journey. But before we get there, 3 points that matter most before I start any conversation or dialogue. Number 1, you're not alone. Number 2, you're not crazy. Number 3, God, your creator, still loves you, and I do too. Oh, and Harafe does too. All right, now we got that out of the way. Harafe, by the way, is our residential evangelist, bishop, pastor, overseer, reverend, prophetess, all of the things. Okay, that's what we do with Harafe. We don't have a golden calf over here. We have a golden giraffe. Oh, the G is silent. Harafe. Anyway, today I wanted to give you guys a video about life after deconstruction. I am, in my honest opinion, I am 100% deconstructed. I done broke it down. I done broke away. I done gone on by my business from church and organized religion. There definitely has been a lot of reconciling of what I was taught, what I believe, and what actually serves and works for me. And it's funny because I know personally that everybody has a different journey, even in religion. Even, you know, when you are a Christian or whatever your choice of belief system may be, everybody has their own personal journey. I think the thing about it is that it's often done in community. And so you base where you are in your faith walk based off of where everybody else is, or at least what they show you. And it's funny because it's so easy to have a facade or to look as if though you're well, and not just well from a physical standpoint, but even a spiritual standpoint, like that you're strong, you got all together, your prayer life is this, your faith walk is that, you believe this, you know how to create or manifest or bring forth certain things, and you're really living under an open, heaven. It's a facade for a lot of people. They're able to perform. And it becomes a part of your life where you actually have two personalities. You're living a double life. You're one way in church and in that community and environment. And then when you leave that environment, you're a totally different way. There are different issues and cares of life that actually causes you to possibly be depressed or stressed or anxious, unhappy, bitter, manipulative, resentful, mean, there's so much that goes into it. And I think that it is so important to note that you are a different person when you are in a religious environment. You are a totally different person. It's funny because the more I think about it, people are able to appear nicer or to come off as if they're supportive and they are there for, the same reasons to really engage with people who believe like them. But in all honesty, the mindset that exists outside of those organizations, the competition, the backbiting, the cattiness, right? Or the pettiness, or whatever the case may be, the one side versus the other side, the popular crowd versus the unpopulars. That stuff exists in that space as well, but it's masked as if though we're all one. We're all in the body of Christ together, and we're here for one another, and whatever you need, and we're building together. And it's really not giving that at all. And I learned that myself on my deconstruction journey. But I think the most powerful part of the deconstruction journey is what you do after. Like, what do you do after you have gotten out all of the indoctrination, after you have shed all of your, Christian aspects and mindset and the bondage, and you are just free. You're like a free, clean slate. Now, there will still be some remnants. Let's be very clear. There will be some parts of you that will kind of go back to religious logic for certain things that may happen in the world or in certain environments. Even if you're praying, or if you're, talking to someone else that's still in it, you may revert back to some of that stuff, right? Or you may want to, if you still have certain people around you from certain environments that you were in as a religious person. But the beauty of it is that once you're a clean slate and you've done away with that, you're able to see things clearly. You're able to discuss things from a healed place, in a logical space. And where people try to come at you with a certain mindset or belief system to get you on their side or to see things their way, you'll be able to present an opposing view respectfully, without trying to impose it. You can have a opposing view, but you don't have to impose that view on other people. That to me is the life after deconstruction, realizing that what you were given in religion was just that. It was given to you. It wasn't a choice that was given. It was the teaching, the knowledge, the skills, the resources for you to do what you were taught and to operate in that, certain sphere in a certain way. But it wasn't ever given to you for you to apply it to what worked, for how it would work in your life. And it's funny because I think about the relationships that a lot of people mourn. People mourn relationships when they leave church. And it's natural and it's normal because a lot of the time church becomes your everything. It becomes your ecosystem for existence. You may have a job, you may have a family, of course you have your own space, your living space that you're in, but you do everything at church. With church people, you go, you may have your certain group of church friends that become your everything. You all are going out to eat, you guys are going to movies, you all are around each other. Y'all may not work together, but you do majority of your life with them. And then you start seeing them a certain way, and you start seeing everybody else outside of that circle a certain way, as to not be as connected or aware and informed, and you don't want to be around them because it's like, oh no, they don't think like me, they're going to try to direct me down a dangerous dark path that is demonic and worldly, versus my friends who believe like me and feel like me. But really, y'all just becoming little personal spies on each other. And it's very little accountability that are usually in those religious circles. It's just a way to have cliques, so that you don't leave, or that you feel like my next is not going to be as good as this. Where do I go from here? And that's why this video is important, because I think about my life after deconstruction, and I've read in a lot of emails that you all have sent, a lot of comments that you all have made about the freedom. Everybody talks about the freedom after they leave religion, after they leave Christianity, after they leave church culture. Everyone talks about the freedom. And I know that people in church or Christians who may watch this video may say, yeah, y'all just don't want accountability. Y'all want to live how y'all want to live. Y'all want to be reckless. I highly doubt that people who leave church just decides to go and be in, a Freaknik fest or something like that. I highly doubt it. I think more often than not, people simply no longer want their time to be monopolized. They no longer want their emotions to be manipulated. They no longer want their face to be played in. They want to think for themselves and move based off of the decisions that's going to best benefit them and for their future or their family. I think that oftentimes people misconstrue freedom and liberty. It's like actually existing in that and operating in their freedom and liberty. People misconstrue and confuse that with being sinful because you're out of the will of God, or you just don't want to be obedient to the word. And that's not what this is. You can still have integrity and a moral compass based off of certain belief systems and principles that you practice to get the same result, no matter if you're in church or not. And it's guilt. The first step of getting over anything after deconstruction is going to be that guilt and that shame, because people will detach themselves from you. They will isolate. If you're no longer in that church, you're no longer in that circle, that's going to happen. So life after deconstruction means creating a new environment, becoming friends with new people. But before you can do any of that, you have to find out who you are, because your identity literally shifted to exist in that space. A lot of people mute who they are to exist in religious environments. People who are outspoken, people who are assertive, people who are true leaders. It may be leaders at their job. You get in church and you literally dissolve. You pull back, you draw back. You don't operate in that gift. You don't operate in that skill because people there have already elevated themselves over you. So it's like, oh, what you do or your degree or da da da, your job ain't nothing to God. They do that to tear it down repeatedly, always knocking you a couple of notches off the, off a rank. Want to do that because honestly, the more they can do that and infiltrate your personality and your character and who you are and your identity, you'll seek to please them. You'll become a different person to exist in their space, and they can use that to their advantage because your skill is still your skill. Your gift is still your gift. Your passion is still your passion. But if they can keep you from operating in it in their space, you will be less effective in your own space because you won't go and seek promotion. Because the higher you actually begin to rank in the real world, the environment and the falsehood that is created in church, the false reality that's created there, they can't dominate you outside of that. And so if you never really seek to scale, to grow, to do more outside of that, you won't gain more knowledge that might allow you to tap into logic and say, why do I allow this over here? Or why is this being done over here like that? That would never fly over here. I would ask questions and want proof or want, like some kind of validation or some other, forms of confirmation for what someone's telling me in my regular real world job. But I get to church and I literally give it all up. I literally don't question, don't ask, right? Don't ask, don't tell policy. That is the difference. That is the purpose to me of being genuinely committed to the deconstruction journey, which is important to find yourself, self-discovery. That's what life after deconstruction really becomes. Life after that is, who am I? What do I like? What am I good at? What do I enjoy? What makes me happy? What brings me peace? How can I help others? How can I live a truly fulfilled life without excuse, right? Without fear, without anxiety, without pressure? How do I do that? And I think that that's a question a lot of people don't ask because in church, your time is monopolized. People want you here, be here on time for prayer, be here, for usher board meetings or for leadership training or for prayer or, for Bible study. It's always something else for you to do, another way for you to serve that takes you out of what you actually enjoy and what you like. That may be bowling, that may be cooking. You may be great at, organization. You could possibly be out there organizing stuff for other people. You could be a community activist. All of those skills are isolated in a bubble, and it's said that you're here to help serve and to build the kingdom, but you usually end up in an environment that's not growing, in a church that ain't increased in membership in 20 years. And it doesn't make sense because it's like a hoarding of such. It's like, why would all of these great people who have careers, have jobs, have skills, have knowledge, have education, resources, why would we all sit here and hoard all of this only to make one person, like the idol, make one person big and great? I know personally of ministries where there are so many helpful resources, people who work in HR in hospitals, people who are literally vice presidents of, oh my goodness, the unemployment office, like literally can get you jobs, job placement, get you unemployment or get you benefits or help with their Social Security. There are so many resources in one ministry that I know of specifically. Do you know this church has never had a job fair? Do you know this church gets goods from a certain ministry that they're a part of? They donate to a ministry, and this ministry gives clothes and electronics and stuff like that. Do you know what this church does with the electronics and the clothes that they're given? They give them to the members. At the end of the year, they keep all of the stuff that's sent to them through the year. They put it in a room at the church. And at the end of the year, during the church Christmas party, they let the church members go and pick one gift from what they've received throughout the year that was meant to give to the community. That's not okay. So life after deconstruction, find your purpose. If you know that you have the skills and the ability and the mind to organize, to create, to do what makes you happy and what's best for you, find that and operate in it. Life after deconstruction for me was, first step was to not feel guilt or feel bad on Sunday when I didn't go to church. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was like, ooh, should I be cooking? Should I be cleaning? I didn't want to have fun. Like the first couple of months, me and my husband wouldn't do anything. We wouldn't go nowhere on Sundays because I felt bad. I was like, oh, dang, I should be in church right now. Like it's 1 o'clock. And then I would lie to my mama. In the beginning, I would not tell her. Like she would be like, y'all went to church? And I'd be like, yeah. No, what the pastor preach about? And I'd make something up. I'm a whole grown woman with a husband and a child lying on the phone because I was afraid. I was ashamed. I felt guilt. Some would say that was conviction of the Holy Spirit. No, no, no. That was guilt and shame from the people at church. It wasn't God who cared about the attendance. If I had perfect attendance at church, it was y'all who cared. This bondage. And so eventually, as time went on, I just stopped doing it. I just stopped lying. I was like, we didn't go. And then that Sunday turned to another Sunday. And then another Sunday. And another Sunday. We didn't go. We didn't go. I don't know what he talked about. I ain't see him. I ain't hear it. I ain't look at it online. We didn't go. And it got to the point where she asked, so y'all just not in church? We're not. I didn't offer any more information after that. Any follow-up questions you asked, I became more and more comfortable with answering because I realized that it was my life and it was my truth and my deconstruction journey. And the more comfortable and confident that I became in that, I understood that it was my responsibility to feel safe and comfortable in whatever I decided. And it wasn't for anybody else to tell me whether or not I was going to heaven or hell because of my decision that made me feel better. My freedom is mine. Like your social security number is yours and you protect that and it only identifies you in a system, as is with your religion or your belief system. Even if you choose not to be a believer or spiritual, period, and you don't believe in nothing, you're just out here walking around, living, existing, working, going to sleep, eating. That's fine too. It's up to you. So when I realized that my deconstruction and all of the points and the things that I believed and why I believed them, I could defend them. I could defend them and nobody could say anything about it. Nobody. Now nobody tries to say anything about it because it's understood, so I don't have to explain it. Like they say, what's understood don't have to be explained. Like I don't have to break this down for you. I don't have to get you to approve it. Guess who did? Me. I approved this before it rolled out. Before this plan rolled out and everybody else could see it, read it, experience it, I had already accepted it. I was never asking for contributions to my research. I had already lived it. That was enough for me. Experience is the best teacher. Words don't teach, experience does. And I also began to understand that the more I fought for my limitations, I got to keep them. If I wanted to be limited in my mind and in my resources, I was able to keep those limitations. I was limited in my thoughts and in my beliefs when I was in church. I believed that I couldn't have this unless I did that. I believed I couldn't live this way unless I gave this. I believed I couldn't and I wouldn't see the blessings and the manifestations and the goodness of God if I wasn't acting or living a certain way. Those are my limiting beliefs, and they limited me indeed. When I removed those strongholds and that bondage, I was free to actually see what actually worked for me. I was no longer operating under the protection of leadership that wasn't perfect either. I started removing the perfection and the idols that I had placed before me in humans, in people at church. And I started saying, this position actually belongs to me in my life, in my own heart. The way that I see you as a man or woman of God, I should see myself that way. The way I revere and respect other people highly and responding to them or referring to them in certain ways, I should be doing that to myself. Because it's all about realizing the position and the power that people have in your life is the position and power that you've given them. They're nothing without people sitting in the seats in the audience making them feel like that. No one is that important where you got to move out of their way, step to the side, address them as pastor, bishop, elect, evangelist, prophet is this. Nobody is that special unless the people who are actually putting them there makes them that special. Other than that, again, as I say, at Walmart, you are your first name. At Kroger, you are your first name. at the mall, at the movies. You are whatever your first name is on your ID. It's when you get to church that you get to become someone else. And on that deconstruction journey, you start to put you back in that spot. You start to see yourself as that powerful figure. You start to lean and depend on your own knowledge and understanding, your own intuition. And you start to give yourself that grace. You start to extend that grace to yourself. I'm not going to know it all. I'm not going to get it all right. I'm not going to get it all done. But what I am going to do is trust myself as I figure it out. I'm going to trust that God is going to send the right people in my life along my journey, along the path, right? For me to trust and glean so I can understand where I'm meant to be, so I can operate and do what I'm called to do. And that's what has been a constant for me. Every time I've gone further and further on, as I got further along on my deconstruction journey, more and more resources and information and opportunity opened up for me to learn more and to see more. As I have more questions internally, I always found an answer. The answers always revealed themselves to me. And that's why it's like when people talk about in church, hearing the voice of God and being in God's will and knowing God is speaking to you, that happens in a plethora of ways. It ain't never been audible for me directly, but it has been in a plethora of ways. If it's things that come to my mind, like conversations I'm having internally, but I know it's not me thinking them as I'm hearing or feeling it. And I'm able to type it out, like what's being said to me or what I'm hearing or what's resonating in my spirit, right? Or there are things that happen, emails that come through, or I'm talking to someone I know and they refer a book and then I go read. I'm like, oh my God, this is exactly what I needed. This is exactly where I am. These are questions that I've had. This is information. This is affirmation and confirmation in the moment. Because when you're on the path, you're going to find what you're looking for. When you're not on your way nowhere, ain't nothing coming up for you. You cannot sit in your house, say you want to go to the mall, and then end up at a stop sign. You're not on your way anywhere. You just say what you want to do, but you're not actually in action to get there. So nothing that usually goes on along that journey will be presented to you. If you never pursue a dream, you'll never have a dream come true. You can dream it all day long. You can have the idea or imagine it as much as you want to, but you have to go from imagination to actually taking action to get to the finished product or the reality of it. I could have said I wanted to be a business owner until I was blue in the face, but until I started a business, I wouldn't have come into the knowledge of all of the resources and information and the assets and the people that I would have encountered had I just kept saying I wanted to do it. All of that stuff wasn't going to unfold for me because you have to be in motion in order for anything to take off. Analogy I've used several times in these videos and in real life. When you are at a store, and if they have automatic doors, those doors only move when you move, when you're walking towards them. Those doors are not just opening and closing every 2 seconds with no motion. They are what? They are motion activated. They are action responsive. They know, they can sense, they can tell, and they respond to motion and action towards them. They open up for you because you are coming towards them. They are ready for you whenever you show up. People are not locked out of Walmart because the doors won't open for them. They're only opening for you because you are moving towards them and they were ready for when you showed up. And that's how it is along the way with deconstruction. You will find what you need when you are actually moving towards it. And it can feel like a lonely, isolating place, but you have to remember that isolation, you only feel that way because you're leaving something that you were comfortable with and you knew, and you're now venturing into the unknown. Shout out to Elsa and Anna. Okay. You are venturing into the unknown. So you're not sure how to navigate it. You don't know the right places to go to get certain things just yet because you're now removed from what you did know. You're no longer getting up and getting dressed for church. You know who you were going to see there, who you were going to sit next to, when praise and worship was going to be done, when the offering was going to be taken, how service was going to flow. That is comfort. That is a pattern. That is a tradition. That is a ritual that you're used to. When you deconstruct, all of this is made new. All of it is new to you. You're navigating uncharted territory for your life. So like I said, I started off by not knowing what to do on Sundays. And then as I got more comfortable and confident, I was like, oh, this is really a day of rest and realization. I'm going to clean up. I'm going to cook. Maybe we'll go to the park. Maybe we'll go to the movies. Hell, maybe I'll go to my daddy and them house. I don't know. I got time today. And I got more and more comfortable in that freedom, understanding that wherever I am, God is. And it felt good. And now I'm a pro at my Sunday schedule, which includes doing whatever I want to do. Unapologetically, without feeling negative and without feeling bad. Understanding that when you miss people who were once in church, those people are only missing in your life now because they no longer want to have access, want to give you access to them. It ain't because you don't want access. It's because they're choosing to withhold their presence from you to punish you. That is a red flag. People who are okay with you as long as you're in their organization or in their group, those aren't your people. Those aren't your people, because they're supposed to be doing what? Showing the love of God to everyone. However, now that you don't believe like me and you don't go where I go, I can't associate with you. What kind of Boys and Girls Club shit? What is this? Unacceptable. Cliquish, cultish behavior will always represent and show itself for what it is. If people will disassociate themselves with you and shut you off, cut you off, close you out, that is intentional to get you to either come back or hoping that things will go so wrong with you, for you out there, that you will have no choice, right? Again, to come back, or you'll be lost in the sauce and unalived. I've heard people say stuff like that. The enemy gonna kill them out there. That's not okay to say stuff like that about people because they no longer go to church with you or they no longer believe like you. People's souls and lives do not have to be lost in real life because you're upset that they don't read the Bible with you anymore. They don't come to church. They don't do praise and worship with you. You're all cool and fine as long as you can see them. But the moment you can't see them and control them, now the devil got them. And that's not cool. But life after deconstruction allows you to see that for what it is. Life after deconstruction also allowed me to identify what was meant to hurt me and how much I ignored signs. When you're in things, it's easy for you to defend them because you think that they are beneficial for you. That can include people, that can include experiences, right? Certain conferences, certain revivals, certain classes, courses, all of that. You think that stuff is beneficial for you because you're in it. But then once you get out of it, you're like, dang, that was draining me. That was taking up my life. That zapped and depleted my life source. That's why I didn't have no energy. That's why I never wanted to think or that's why I never wanted to do or pursue anything. That's why I didn't have clarity. And you get out of it and you're able to see it like, oh my goodness, how did that stuff happen to me and I didn't do nothing about it? How was that stuff being done in front of me and I didn't see it? I didn't say anything. It is so easy when you're in it to ignore it. And then when you're not in it, you're able to see clearly and you're able to say, dang, that was actually destructive. That actually was holding me down. That actually was sent to destroy me. That was the weapon that was formed. But me leaving was the very reason that it didn't prosper. I know for a fact I wouldn't be where I am today. I would not have the family that I have today. I wouldn't have the business, the success, the growth, the happiness, the joy, the increase, the favor, the grace, the mercy, the peace, the love that's on my life, the relationships, if I hadn't have left. I know that I wouldn't have. My church existence was so tumultuous because I was constantly stuffing and suppressing myself. I was stuffing all of my emotions and feelings into a box so that I wouldn't offend other people, when that skill set and that purpose was meant for me to be a leader because I'm a visionary. I wasn't really operating in that. I wasn't really flowing in that. I wasn't really confident in the space I was in. I was just doing some things and I did them well, but they weren't in excellence where I could excel. When you're at your job and you go for a performance review, if your managers or leadership see your greatness, they will move you up or bump you so that you can actually help the benefit of the company, right? So that the morale increases, so that, revenue goes up, whatever your skill set is. Oh, you know how to do that? Oh my goodness, you're great at that. This has been doing this since you started doing it. Let's get you here. That is never happening at church. It doesn't matter how good you are at finances or education. They're not going to put you over this. They're not going to put you over that. They're not going to create a spot for you here. They're not going to put you on salary. None of that. Because the more you can suppress it, the more people have to depend on the leader in order to get more access to it. It's like a carrot dangling in a rabbit's face, but you keep moving the carrot just to get the bunny to hop. And then eventually the bunny is depleted and just like, damn it, I'll eat this grass. I'm going to eat this grass that's down here because you won't give me what's up here. This is really what's meant for me, but you're depriving me of it. You get me to keep hopping along. I'm just going to stay right here and eat this grass. That's what happens in church. People are eating grass when they were meant to go so much higher and get a carrot. And then more access to more resources, life-sustaining, life-giving. And they're stuck eating grass and focusing on that. They never look up again. They never go for more again. They're okay with being the choir director. They're okay with being the Sunday school teacher. They're okay with being a greeter. But there's so much more. There's so much more ministry in them beyond that. And when I say ministry, I don't mean none of that stuff I just named off. There's so much more in you where you can operate and impart into other people and sow into other people and pour into other people. I believe that my business is a ministry for me. I operate in it effortlessly. Other people are inspired and other people are touched, and then I'm able to coach and I'm able to, become an asset and a point of reference in somebody else's journey. That's a ministry for me. I enjoy it. Strategy and marketing and helping people get ideas and come up with plans to actually execute and make them money and to increase their lifestyle and their imprint on this world. That is ministry for me. I don't take it lightly. But nobody in church is going to give you that opportunity. You have to be able to seek that outside of that. Let that organization serve you emotionally and spiritually, strengthen you emotionally and spiritually for your ministry outside of it. That's how effective we should seek to be. Whatever organization we join, we're an asset when we're there, but outside of it, we are a better impact to the world. And the more of our resources we can pool and put together, we can increase people for the better. But that's not the mindset. So life after deconstruction looks like knowing who you are, filling your schedule with things that really speak to you and pour into you so that you can be a better asset to those around you. Understanding that it's not selfish to put yourself first. Nobody else's vision is more important than your own vision for your own life. Because as you reach your goals and you do well, you're going to be able to help other people too. I couldn't do what I do. I couldn't share what I know if I hadn't done anything to learn it. Professors, great. They're able to teach book knowledge. They're able to give you knowledge based off of what they keep reading in the different versions and editions of the textbook that keeps coming out. But they don't have the life-on-life experience that someone has actually done what they've taught can give the student that's now growing to do it too. There are different levels. There are different levels. And we have to be okay with that. So when you realize that you're meeting yourself for the first time after deconstruction, it may get a little shaky. You may not even recognize your own voice in your own head. You may question that voice, but you'll get more comfortable and you'll get more confident and you'll realize, I want what's best for me. I'm not talking crazy to myself. I'm not losing my mind. The ideas that I have are not demonic or evil. These things are not going to send me to hell. These things are actually giving me gratification and happiness right now. And that's what I want. I want to live under an open heaven every day. Direct me, guide me, lead me to that. Everything that I've been doing that has been holding me apart and separate from that, I no longer want no connection to it. Don't let it find me. Don't let it follow me. Don't let it reach me. Keep it away from me if it keeps me away from you. Remove it from me if it does not serve me. Don't let it reach me. I don't want it in my space. It's not my truth or my reality. Stop aligning with things that misalign your peace, that misaligns your happiness. That's the part of deconstruction that I think a lot of people fear. It's the freedom. It's the freedom that once you get there, am I of a reprobate mind? Like, am I just so far gone that God would never be able to save me? No. It feels different because you were once in bondage. It's almost like Stockholm Syndrome. When you start making the person that was your captor your savior. I said what I said. And I ain't sorry about it. It is a psychological, Stockholm Syndrome, a psychological condition of a victim who identifies with and empathizes with their captor or abuser and their goals. The first step in deconstruction is definitely identifying who you are. But the next step after that is no longer empathizing with the person or the persons who are holding you captive mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And once you do that, once you can remove yourself from those thought processes and you can get around people who are free to, and they don't feel the way that you used to, or they don't operate the way that you used to, they won't use your religion or your spirituality against you. People will be able to navigate life around you, and you'll see like, dang, people around here not saying amen and praise God and to God be the glory of Walmart. Okay. All right. I see y'all. So we can do this. Bet. And you'll get more confident and more comfortable. You'll find out that people go to church or they, are of a certain background, but it literally will not impact the way that they engage with you. And then you'll be able to see, dang, I was treating people crazy and separate myself from people because they didn't believe like me. And here go all these people of different belief systems accepting me. Here go people from all these belief systems not trying to impose their feelings or their beliefs on me. And I was the one isolating myself from them because I thought they was demonic. But I was missing out on all the goodness and the happiness and the love and the favor that comes from being in a relationship with people who simply have respect for the life that you're living. If it is not imposing you, if it's not being imposed on you or forced or projected, child, go in peace. Enjoy your life. Go do the things. It's okay. Because life after deconstruction is peaceful. It may feel a little tumultuous at first. You're definitely going to be trying to navigate the space, and you're going to revert back to the religious mindset. Sometimes there's going to be a lot of back and forth. It's going to be a lot of double-mindedness. Is this right? Is this wrong? I know this voice. This ain't me. I don't want that. I don't really believe that. Oh my God, am I going to hell because I thought that? Dang, what should I do? God, show me. Speak to me, Lord. You're going to go back and forth with wanting to hear from God, with wanting to see the will of God, wanting to be in the will of God, and then being like, but what is God's will? Wait a minute, that was confusing. I never saw it before. My finances are doing better. I ain't having to give 10%. I was able to give here, go here, do this, save that. What? You're going to feel different. You're going to feel lighter. You're going to feel less pressure and more pleasure. That's all I'm saying. Life after deconstruction is less pressure and more pleasure, which we know that in church it says you need to die to the flesh. You need to kill your flesh daily. But you start realizing that your flesh is just truly your feelings that you should be able to identify and then decide if they're leading you in the right way or a way that could cause you to spiral, to have a downward spiral. Your emotions and your feelings are not bad. They're not. It's about you being able to control them before they take you in a way where you get more of what you're feeling, for the negative or for the good. But your flesh, your fleshly, your earthly desires to want food or to be sexually attracted to someone or to want to go somewhere or want a materialistic thing, that is not demonic. That is not wrong. Instead of helping people to isolate and determine what their emotions and feelings are and how to control them, we allow people to be emotional tyrants at church, to act on whatever they felt, whatever offense or whatever sin they think that you've committed. They're able to attack you according to that, never asking your intent, never talking directly to you to find out the background and the foundation for how you got there. It ain't fair. But it doesn't mean that it's actually going to be, practiced. That's why I don't get the thing of church hurt. Yeah, everybody talking about church hurt, but it's people that didn't hurt you at work and you still go. It's people at the gym that did this and you still go. It's not the same. What I expect from people at my job and at the gym is different from what I expect from you at church when you read the same thing I'm reading. I'm not doing to you what you've done to me. So it's not a foundation or a base for you to keep doing it. Stop doing it. Once I make you aware that I don't like this, I don't like that, this makes me uncomfortable, why would we then turn around and say people let your job get to do it and you still go? I go to my job for work. I go to church for fellowship. There is a difference. You should not be doing this. You should be held accountable. You should know better. So the more or the sooner we can get to that place in the journey, the better off you'll feel in the journey. The safer you'll feel, the more confident you'll feel to move based off of what's working for you and less of what you need approval for to actually go towards. I don't seek approval. I didn't in my deconstruction journey. All I knew was that I needed something more, something better that I felt comfortable in. And I feel comfortable now. I feel better. I feel confident. I don't try to over-explain or over-analyze things. If it's too much mental gymnastics, I don't care. I don't. Your feelings are not mine. Your emergency is not my urgency. I don't have to figure or fix anything for you to feel better. I just have to focus on me. And if you're doing the work on yourself, we can definitely coexist well together and hold each other accountable, enjoy and do life together. But it should not be misery. It should not be misery. It should not be manipulation at all. So once you get clear from that, you find you some hobbies, you discover what you like, you find your voice, you feel confident in your choices. I believe that life after deconstruction for you can be happy. It can be healthy. You can feel whole. You'll be able to navigate and to respect other people's opinions and feelings and beliefs. And you'll understand that they're not doing anything wrong to you by not believing like you. Okay, so that's my take on it. I understand that, again, like I said, mourning the loss of relationships and community is real, but you can find you other groups, other settings that you can become a part of that can take up time in your day or your week. Don't try to literally recreate your church in a new environment. Don't do that, because that's dependency, and that takes away other people's freedom to enjoy relationship with you because you're depending so heavily on them for them to be to you what you just left. That's toxic, right? That's just finding someone else to take the place of what you just came out of. Don't put that kind of pressure on someone else to be what you just needed freedom from. And don't you become that to anyone else either. So allow other people, first allow yourself to heal before you just jump into another setting. Find out who you are and what you like and how you plan on doing that consistently. And then tie other people in who are confident and secure in who they are. They won't be perfect, but you can do life together and understand that I respect you for who you are and the differences. You respect me for who I am and my differences. We enjoy time and space with each other. And you can share some beliefs and background and history. But I think ultimately trust is the number one thing that you have to grow to have with yourself. And then you can expand that with other people. But if you go right from deconstruction to trying to jump back into something else, like another group, another church, another ministry or whatever, it can be damaging for sure, because you can get to the point where you're just contrary in every way. You don't agree with anybody about anything. You want to be argumentative and debate. I never wanted to debate my decision to deconstruct. I've never done that. I've never tried to prove anything to anyone. I just knew that what I found out worked for me. And then it would be 5 years later that I would start this channel. And since then, it's just gotten better. And every step of the way, I feel more comfortable and confident. I'm not trying to force anything. I'm allowing all things and being connected to people who are on the journey with me. So it's exciting, but it's rewarding. And from there, I expect all people to understand and trust that voice that comes from within so that you never have to live without. All right? Okay, if you've enjoyed the video, go ahead, like and subscribe to the channel. I would love to add you to my 2 cents crew. Until next time, I'll see y'all later. Bye.